This little flapper, that's the submandibular gland. And we can actually still see the duct for that is intact right here. Okay? Usually your parotid gland is here and your parotid duct runs across that masseter muscle into the back of the mouth, but that doesn't seem to be here anymore. Okay, and then the third set are the sublinguals, but they're deep in there. They're not going to ask you for them. Okay? Trachea. Clearly. Trachea. Up here, these big flat plates up here, this is the thyroid cartilages. There and there. If we open this up a little bit, what can we see? We can see part of the epiglottis right here. See that little leaf-like thing? That's part of his epiglottis, right up here. And these little flaps of cartilage here and here, those are the erythenoid cartilages in the cat, right there and there. Okay. Put that back together. If we look behind the trachea, we find the esophagus. Okay. We come down here. It wants you to look for the phrenic nerves. So this is our diaphragm. We pull our diaphragm up. The phrenic nerves are these long threads right here. They go right into the diaphragm. Those are the nerves that innervate the diaphragm. And there should be one on each side, in theory, but there isn't one on this side anymore. Okay? Phrenic nerve. And if we look down here is our esophagus. Way down here on the back wall. Come down. That esophagus has to go through that diaphragm at the hiatus. And then it comes out on the other side, right here. That's our esophagus coming out into the abdomen. Okay? There's a sphincter right there, the esophageal sphincter, to keep stuff from washing back up into the esophagus. And we have this J-shaped stomach right here. Okay, and we pull this back. We can see those extra folds of tissue in there. Those are the rugae, so that the stomach can expand. And at the end of the J, right here, we have another sphincter called the pyloric sphincter that regulates flow from the stomach into the duodenum. Okay? And all of this gooey stuff here, this is the greater omentum, that fatty apron attached to the greater curve of the stomach. This goo here, this is what's left of the lesser omentum, and that's attached to the smaller curve of the stomach. Pull this gunk out of the way. Here's the big spleen over here, the beef teriyaki. And then we need to find the pancreas. So here's the pancreas here. It goes from the spleen, it gets lost in here in the fat a little bit, and then it comes out here on the duodenum. Okay, so this is all pancreas. Right under there, right over to the duodenum. Okay, so this first loop here, where you have the pancreas attached, that's the duodenum. Okay, all of this curly stuff, this is jejunum for absorption. And then finally, our last little loop here is ileum. Ileum attaches to the large intestine, which is this. Okay. Right where it attaches, you have this little blind sac. That's the cecum. That's where our appendix would be, hanging down there. And the little bump right here that you feel is the ileocecal valve that regulates flow from the small to the large. And if we put this in the right orientation, like so, we would have our ascending, our transverse, and descending. And if this was us, our appendix would be hanging way down here. Okay? This descending colon is held up against the back body wall by this, called the mesocolon. That just holds it in place. Okay? And what else we have? We have liver. So again, here's our diaphragm. Here's our liver. That liver is actually held up against the diaphragm by this piece of tissue right here. That's called the falciform ligament. It just keeps that liver up here. And if we move this out a little bit, again, here's your gallbladder right there. And the gallbladder is going to deliver bile through the cystic duct. I don't know what all this goo is here. Anyway, the cystic duct right here coming down from the gallbladder. It's joined by ducts coming over from the liver. These are hepatic ducts. And those combine into one big tube called the common bile duct. And that comes in right at the beginning of the duodenum. Okay? I think we're good with that. Okay? All right. Oh, there's a lung back in. Oh, that one class, they cut all the left lungs out for some unknown reason.